Just where are you going?
Where are you going? You're not going to the bar again, are you?
You like hanging out, drinking beer at the bar, talking sports? Come on out and join us weekly. Guys at the Bar Talking Sports, your podcast for just that. Hanging out, drinking some beer, talking sports. If you like what you're hearing here on Guys at the Bar Talking Sports, you know what? Head over to Facebook and join our Facebook group. That is where a bunch of sports fans get together and talk sports online. Best sports group on Facebook. And then if you really like what you're hearing on the show, share it with a friend and subscribe on your podcast app. What's up, y'all? This is your boy Hanger from Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. Thank you for joining us for another look at the sports world from a perspective of a bunch of people hanging out at a bar. Maybe a few too many drinks every so often, but we've been reeling it in over the last couple of weeks to make sure that we give you the best podcast show that we can. And you remember last week, everybody, I did this little thing where I got the AI to open up the introduction for us.
Oh, yeah.
Well, this week, I got the AI not only to do the introduction for us, but also what are the topics that we should do. And it gave me all the topics that we're going to go over tonight. So it is the one that gave me all these topics to go over.
I thought it gave you a good smile, too. Didn't it?
And it gave me a good smile because I had an art, it do some art for me, and I uploaded a picture and said make a portrait, and it freaking corrected my teeth.
Nice.
It corrected my teeth. I was like, what is going on with this thing? So anyway, AI.
Your bank account.
Yeah, so, okay, welcome to Guys That Are Talking Sports, where we dive deep into the latest and greatest in the world of sports. Today, we're going to be gearing up for the biggest game of the year, the Super Bowl. On one side, we have the Eagles with their dynamic quarterback, Jalen Hurts. On the other, the reigning champions, the Kansas City Chiefs, led by none other than Patrick Mahomes.
Reigning
Of
champions.
what? Of what?
Wait.
The Rams won last year.
Yeah, then it messed up. Okay, that wasn't me. I'm just reading what it tells me to say. All right, both quarterbacks are known for their strong arms and elusiveness, but let's not forget about their defenses. The Eagles and Chiefs both boast solid defenses ready to disrupt the opposition's game plan. It's a battle of two well-rounded teams, and the stage is set for an unforgettable showdown. Get ready, folks. It's going to be a classic. Does anyone disagree with that?
Yeah.
I know you do. So let's go ahead and get some introductions going then, okay? We got my favorite female, Cheeks.
Hello.
And you got a very pretty drink you're drinking, fluorescent green.
Yeah, we're trying to go for the Eagle Green, but it's not quite there, but we're close.
It's close enough. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking a cotton candy mimosa again with watermelon cotton candy.
They just drop cotton candy into it, like the fluffy stuff?
Yep, the fluffy stuff, and it melts into it. Gives a little bit of flavor.
I didn't understand what you were saying until the next day when I re-listened to the show, and I was like, "Oh wow, okay, so it's actually cotton candy."
Yeah, real life cotton candy. Yeah.
All right, interesting.
She's not metaphorically speaking. They actually put
cotton candy
in the drink.
All right, which is why my favorite man Harley is not drinking that drink.
Harley.
I'm drinking an exotic Mexican brew called Corona.
So Harley, last week you come up. Oh, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to be on the show. This week, you're here ready to freaking perform.
It's Tuesday. It's Taco Tuesday. Gotta eat.
Okay.
But my Eagles will win the Super Bowl.
Okay. Well, we're not doing predictions yet.
I'll wait.
You got to hold on. I'm not going to delve any deeper into that conversation, okay?
All right.
All right. We got my man, the Rebel. I don't see any whiskey in front of you. What's going on?
Because after what I did to my liver Sunday night, I'm drinking God's Nectar, a little Guinness.
Let's just say everyone on our Facebook group, join it if you can, knows about you
exactly what I think.
Got a taste of what I
really thought about that game.
Yeah.
They were live and in person, even though they weren't.
There was a lot of F-bombs and A-bombs.
No, it wasn't that bad, but I did go back in and clean it up a little bit come Monday.
Which is fine.
Yeah, but in the same breath, as they say, don't be a keyboard cowboy when you're halfway through a bottle of Makers. There's probably some truth to that.
Not the
Take your
smartest.
own advice, Dave.
I
Take my
know.
own advice.
Now, I would hate to see you on the political sides, but we don't talk politics on this show.
No, you
'Cause that
you
keyboard-
just saw it. Just change the topic a little bit.
Same thing, just talking about
Yes,
politics.
correct.
All right, gotcha.
Correct.
All right, we got my man Chopper.
What's going on?
What are you drinking, Chopper?
Tonight I am drinking a Steel Hands Black Cherry Sour.
Wow.
I want to preface, though. That is
It is.
exactly what he's drinking.
It is delicious.
This man has already sucked down a margarita.
I
I've seen it.
I did not.
No, he hardly drinks. He drinks one drink during the show, and that's it.
Yeah.
I know how he is.
Pre-show was a different story. I saw it sitting there at the bar too.
He's a big boy. He can drink.
No,
that.
that's fine. Yeah, when you're like 7'6",
Yeah.
you can handle 2 drinks. No
Boy.
problem.
It's a large thirst.
Yes. So here's the deal.
What are you drinking?
Yeah.
Oh.
You gotta introduce yourself, son.
They already know who I am. I'm drinking a Guinness. I'm drinking a Guinness. All right. All right. So Facebook had some crazy stuff going on during the game. I was keeping up, posting a few things here and there during the games last week. We got to talk the playoffs. What happened? What's going on? What in the world what fell apart for some teams, and what teams, just couldn't get traction going. We all know who that team is that couldn't get traction going. So let's start off with the 49ers. Why'd they lose so badly to the Eagles? Let's talk about this. Harley, I'm going to let you give me the first scoop on what happened to the 49ers against the Eagles. Were the Eagles just better, or were the 49ers did they just not bring it?
I just don't think the 49ers brought their game. I thought they were off their game.
Yeah.
I mean, I really like their quarterback. All right, I think he's talented. I think he's got a good
Which
future.
one?
The
Which
fifth
one of the
string,
four?
third string, fourth string.
The first string guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Purdy.
Yeah, so Brock Purdy, he came in. Didn't he get injured in the first quarter, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Basically,
Like this.
he got a pitcher's injury.
Yeah, he tore his is it an OCL?
UCL, so your ulnar
UCL.
collateral ligament in your elbow. That's what you tear when you have to have Tommy John surgery. And basically, there he says the initial report was he's going to try to just rehab it, and 6 months come back and play. For a quarterback, the motion of your arm, that's more realistic than, say, a pitcher who's doing all this torquing of the elbow, trying to throw this nasty breaking stuff.
Yeah.
I can tell you, being in that industry, go get it fixed. Yeah, you'll be out a year instead of 6 months, but go get it fixed. I mean, they've got some statistics now that saying that people that tear this ligament and then come back, they have better arm strength when they come back.
After the surgery, they
in
get
terms
better?
of baseball. Now, granted, you don't see this that often in football. You see it in baseball. It's a baseball injury.
Now,
And,
remember that movie that was out with the kid that became the major league pitcher?
for the
back in
Cubs?
the day?
Yes.
Is that the same?
No,
is
that's
that the-
just no.
Is that
no.
the same thing that he did?
No.
He tore a nerve too, though, didn't he?
Brock Purdy?
No, basically your ulnar collateral ligament sits directly on top of your ulnar nerve, so you get any type of disruption or inflammation in that area.
Hey, this is a dumbed down show.
Well, we're gonna do, there's a nerve there. When you
That's
tear the ligament, you get the nerve irritated, which can cause you numbness in the hand that don't just alleviate itself in a hurry. So the thing is this: the problem was, as I was sitting here watching the game, the ligament's going to hurt. You can play through that. He couldn't feel his hand, or at least he can't feel the last 2 fingers on his hand. And if you're going to throw a football, that's the last thing it comes off of.
Yeah.
And so if you notice, when he did come back in the game, he handed the ball off. I mean, his passing was about 5 and 6 yards. He didn't even try to throw one down the field because he couldn't feel the football to do it anyway.
Yeah.
So, I mean, quite frankly, if they'd have known that's what was going on, they should have never put the kid back in the game and risked more injury, to be honest with you. That game was out of hand in the second quarter. It was over.
They ran out of quarterbacks.
Let the guy who's the 16-year journeyman from San Diego, bet you didn't know that's where the guy played, let him have his moment in the sun, get his tail whipped, and the Eagles move on. I mean, it's just one of those moments.
I mean, top to bottom, the Eagles are a stronger team than the 49ers.
What I
And
compare-
and
Oh,
it
sorry,
just
go ahead.
basically comes down to that. I mean, they're a better team. They're
What I-
going to win.
The injury,
Or that.
the injury effect of that, even though it's the same, but it's not. It's when Montana, playing for the 49ers, got his leg broke in the playoffs. As soon as that happened, it was over. It didn't matter. I mean, Steve Young wasn't ready to come in and do that. I don't even know if Steve Young was playing with them yet at that point. Look, Purdy was already a third-string, fourth-string guy. I mean, that'd be like back in the day, Pittsburgh going to Hines Ward, who played a little bit of that in college, going, all right, man, you got to go and take all the snaps. Or Randall L. Hey, you ain't taking snaps at a professional level, but run in and do this. So that what they've actually said about this, which I read this week, which is interesting, was that they're now looking at, from a quarterback position, as such an integral part, that if you get in the 49ers situation, you give them an exception to put another quarterback on the roster because they did not have another guy rostered.
But that used to be so up until 2011 when they switched it, and then you could add another man to your roster, and nobody added another quarterback.
X Factor. Do they bring in Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady? What do you think about that?
The 49ers?
49ers.
Yeah, each of those guys are free agents this year, so
They're not going to bring in either one of those.
Well,
would they have for that game if you had that chance? That's what we're talking about. Yeah.
It's not.
You're missing one component.
It's
there.
not the craziest thing I've ever heard because Aaron Rodgers has one more, walk on the beach, run in the sun. And he don't have the team to do it in Green Bay. I don't see him being there next year because they're not going to do enough to make them competitive.
And he's from California.
He wanted to play for San Francisco out of college.
Yeah.
So do you think
Brady's
that
from California too?
Do you think that they would try to bring on Aaron Rodgers and Sam Fran for next season then?
That's what I'm saying is, so basically Aaron Rodgers, like I said for my What the Fuck last week, he's due $60 million next year, guaranteed.
Yeah.
Okay? So if somehow or another they can restructure that, bring it. Look, Brady proved you can take a known commodity that they've got the vast majority of the components. Look, you put him out there with Debo and McCaffrey, dude, that gets sick in a hurry. I mean, they're the favorites to win that division. Then they go, hey, you know what? You come out here, we'll pay you $45 million for one run at the Sun, and let's win a Super Bowl. It ain't the craziest thing I've ever heard. I mean, again, Tampa Bay did it and made it work.
But
the Denver Broncos did it back in the day as well.
John Elway, or Peyton Manning, but he's still there for 2 or 3 though. I'm telling you, I think he's got one left in him.
Montana went to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Almost did.
For 2 years.
one of the other
He went for
issues
2
though
years.
with the
Went number
49ers
19.
when they brought in quarterback is there seemed to be no connection with the receivers, no intuition with the receivers and the quarterback because it didn't look like they practiced together.
That's probably true.
And he couldn't read them.
Well, look, the thing of this with a quarterback and a receiver, it's about timing, and there's just no continuity. It doesn't matter if you look. They could have basically brought Garoppolo back into that game and let him start throwing. He hadn't played till week 7. I mean, he was their starter for 7 weeks. He's not going to look any better than the 4th-string guy at that point because this is about timing. It's about continuity and knowing what your guys are going to do. Here's the thing that this is what everybody loses track of, and this is where I think Philly has the biggest advantage going into the Super Bowl. The internal clock. And what I mean by that is these quarterbacks that are really good know, that lineman over there, he ain't worth a crap. I got about 1, 2, 3. I better have it gone because he can't block that guy any better than that.
Yeah.
So not only knowing what your receivers and your running backs are going to do is knowing my line is guaranteed to give me 2.5 seconds, 2 counts. I got 1, 2. I better have it gone or I'm on my own at that point and I better be running for my life.
I mean, the Eagles figured out how to the one weapon that they had once there was no quarterback to throw the ball, basically, Christian McCaffrey.
Right.
They figured out how to shut him down pretty well.
He still got his, though.
He didn't score, though. He scored the one running touchdown, 25 yards, and that was it. And then after that, the rest of the game, it was over.
Well, you knew.
I mean, they did enough to keep any points off the board.
Knew that the game. Here's what I say when you knew the game was over: is when I think it was either 2 or 3 consecutive times they tried to run a gimmick reverse because they knew we don't have it. We're just trying to get it into our best players' hands.
Right.
And from there, anything goes. That game was over. I mean, again, when Purdy gave them a prayer. Once he got knocked out. It was done. It was absolutely done at that point. But Cheeks, I've talked a lot. This was your game,
tell me,
sweetie.
this was your game. Yeah, you were the one that, I mean, you're happy. You called the Eagles from the beginning of the season, right? You knew what was going on. You knew that this was going to be the team to beat. And all of a sudden, boom, what were they, 8-0, 9-0, something like that by the time they finally lost the game?
Yep.
Yeah, like you were happy. You were excited. You were pissed we weren't talking about NFL football on the show. all that stuff because we talk college football mostly there, Harley, all right? And she's every week, it's like, my what the fuck is NFL. My what the fuck is, because we got to talk NFL for a second. She would get hers in.
I did.
And that was about it, right, for a while. And I'm sorry. I apologize.
No,
but
don't
get
apologize.
your words in now, woman.
Yeah. CFB's over with. I can talk about NFL all day now. I think that there is quite a few things that went into it. They were trying to convince themselves that Purdy was the man that was going to take them all the way. If Foles can do it for Wentz, then Purdy can do it for Garoppolo. It wasn't like that. You go into Philadelphia, it's a different atmosphere than almost every other stadium. Yes, I get stadiums are loud and there's great fan bases and everything else. Philadelphia can psych you out just by the overwhelmingness of the fan base. And there was a lot of
Call
that.
them what they are.
They're shitheads. Sorry, there's the one word.
That's a phrase. Yeah.
But
an accurate one.
The 49ers did the same mistake that a couple other teams did earlier in the season, and they went over to the Rocky statue and they put their stupid 49ers jersey on there just like the Giants did, just like the Minnesota Vikings did, and they ended up losing.
Just like those other teams.
So in other words, don't put a jersey on the statue.
That is exactly so that is a great way to lose. So the Vikings lost 24-7. Giants lost 38-7. 49ers lost 31-7. I think it shows you that Rocky protects us.
Don't mess with Rocky.
That's exactly right.
Adrian!
So I double dog dare a Chiefs fan to go over to my statue and put it.
No, I hope they go over there and put like 6 on it. I want to go put like 6 or 10 on it, to be honest with you.
Okay, that'd be great.
So they all lost by 7. There was 7
Yep.
was their score for everybody.
Yep, 24-7,
Yep.
38-7,
So it's a curse.
31-7.
It's the curse.
It's the
curse.
curse.
Don't be messing with Rocky, bro.
I hope the Chiefs
exactly-
go spray paint a thing.
No.
Oh, man.
No, that hurts.
That would be bad. All right, so
For the reasons you mentioned.
And it was an amazingly loud stadium, just like the Chiefs Stadium was an amazingly loud stadium. There were people that were recording the sound, and it said if it went up another half a decibel, it could be damaging to the ears.
well,
Yeah.
okay, Jalen Hurts, right?
Yes. Young.
I respect
Rich,
the guy.
single.
He leaves Alabama, goes to Oklahoma, does good there. Does very good there, but not great, right? There was no national championship runs or anything like that. But everyone doubted Jalen Hurts coming out of college.
Yeah.
Is he going to get drafted? They were wondering if he was even going to get drafted, I think. I think we talked about it on this show where he was going to go. But then he goes to Philly, right? I mean, he's turned that program. I mean, he's turned that place around. There's a lot of excitement there. People love watching him play some football. He's a dynamic quarterback. He can get outside the
He
pocket
has a
when
great
needed.
surrounding cast.
And he has a
Well,
great
All those
Well,
players are
who
good.
is he
Yeah.
the backup to?
Yeah.
Wentz.
Wentz.
And who was
So-
Yeah,
who was
okay.
So who has succeeded in
who was
bringing
BD
two-
Nick backed up to? Wentz. Get the
Yeah.
common denominator. That's what I was about to say. This team, and you correct me if I'm wrong, the key components of this team are not hugely different from when they won it a few years back. They just didn't have the guy back there that could manage the team because, again, both times these guys started out as the backup to Wentz. I kind of like Wentz, but he's not the guy up there. And
Right.
the thing is this, when you were talking about coming out of college and what he was going to do and not going to do, nobody questioned his arm strength, nobody questioned his athleticism, nobody questioned his IQ.
Did they question the mental state?
No, they questioned his size. That's what they question because he is a small guy for a quarterback. I mean, I think he's smaller than Russell Wilson height-wise. Now, granted, the guy squats 650 pounds. That's why he's gotten every fourth and inches sneak he went for this year. The guy's a bull. And the thing is this, everybody was like, that size is going to catch up with him. Well, here we are. He's on the cusp of being a Super Bowl champion, and it ain't caught up with him yet. So, I mean, I think the folks who doubted him out of college have no doubts about it now. It's if the guy can play stay healthy, he can do some great things.
Well, look at the variety of size in so many of the Eagles players. They didn't do dominating sizes for certain positions. I mean, Boston Scott is the shortest guy on the team, the smallest guy on the team. He's a little bulldog.
Well, and I think the NFL is having to adjust to what they consider, and you've heard this before, the prototypical quarterback, okay?
Yeah.
The game is changing, okay? Yeah. You don't really have look, Tom Brady's becoming a dinosaur. If I'm going to be the guy that just stands back here, 7 drops, don't move.
Big Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
Right.
You have, look,
Don't
the
put your
line,
feet.
look here. Used to be if a linebacker ran a sub-5, he was a fast linebacker. Linebackers now are running 4.4, 4.5 at 265 pounds. So if you don't have a quarterback that can move, you better have the best offensive line money can buy. And in today's NFL, that's just not the common market anymore. So therefore, you got to find a guy that's got some mobility to him, that can get out of the pocket, that can make things happen. Look, Hurts. You look at Mahomes. Even Burrow can move around a little bit, but he's more of your traditional type quarterback. I mean, even Aaron Rodgers can move around a little bit when he has to. So the thing is this is I think the people who doubted Hurts coming out of college are still in this 1980s, 1990s mindset of what the prototypical quarterback is, and that's just not it anymore.
And you got Stetson Bennett coming out, right? So this Stetson Bennett kind of fits
Out
that
of jail or out
profile,
of out of jail?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I like the way Hurts just on the move. He can find a target. You know, he's got a good eye on the field, and he's got the arm to get the ball there.
Yeah.
You know, he does.
The key piece with Hurts, in my opinion, is now watch. He may just completely unwind me here right now. He's got a little Trent Dilfer in him. He doesn't turn the ball over.
Yeah.
Ever. He doesn't fumble. He don't make stupid throws. He is money on. Look, he would rather eat it, take the sack, than throw a bad throw and hope for the best. His IQ is where it needs to be. So that's a key piece I don't think a lot of people give him enough credit for, is just he doesn't make a lot of stupid decisions.
Well, great coaching, right? So he's under Nick Saban, under Lincoln Riley. I mean, those are great coaches.
Well, even with that, so to your point, I was thinking more from the standpoint of the coaching staff he has in Philly. They have managed him beautifully. I mean, just put him in positions to where he can be successful. You know, again, if you want him to take a 7-step drop and throw the ball 65 yards, he's going to be very unsuccessful. But if you want him to say, hey, we need 3 to 5 step drops, we're asking you to throw the ball 15 yards and every now and again throw it 30, he's your guy. And he's being very successful doing it.
Yeah.
And it works. And I mean, look what they've gotten this season. I mean, great supporting staff around him, as well as defensively, the Eagles are on
You
point.
have to design the system around your players that you have.
Yeah.
That's how you're successful.
Yeah.
But him and Brown are a good matchup too.
Yeah.
You know?
So let's move on over to the other game of the week, the one that pissed off the Rebel the most. And a lot of other people seem like they were upset with this game as well. Bengals and Chiefs.
Go Chiefs.
But then there was a lot of people that were very excited about this game. I, for one,
Chiefs!
I didn't really have I didn't have a dog in this fight by any means, but
I didn't even.
I kind of wanted to see the Bengals win. I really like Joe Burrow, but you know what? I really like Patrick Mahomes as well. That guy has been. This is his 3rd Super Bowl in 4 seasons. Like, he knows what he's doing. He's a good player.
And what'd you say again? I'm sorry, I missed. Is his 3rd what?
This will be his 3rd Super Bowl in 4 seasons.
Oh, Mahomes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
that's
he's
huge.
This is a guy that came in, took the Chiefs, put them on the map, and is just doing what he needs to do to win games. Now, 1st Super Bowl he was in, he wins. 2nd Super Bowl he's in against Tom Brady, gets his butt kicked. I think he just clammed up and looked like crap. This Super Bowl, though, I don't see that happening. I think he has a good team around him as well.
And not only do they have a good team, but Andy Reid's game plans for all of these games that they're in is top notch. And
Yeah.
he will have a plan for the Philadelphia Eagles. Trust me.
so
And that plan will be exciting.
But a lot of Andy
It will be
Reid's
exciting.
offensive
Trust me, it will be.
decisions are still being used at the Eagles.
I mean, some of the
He was there for 14 years.
some of the play calls and some of the things that he was letting Patrick Mahomes do out there, it was exciting to watch.
We had no choice. They had to do all of us.
But I feel like
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes, he was able to make the day happen. His injury, you could see towards the end,
hurting,
he was
yeah.
starting to hurt,
Yeah.
but he looked like he was solid throughout the game. Joe Burrow, I mean, both quarterbacks had a hard time scoring, in my opinion. both defenses stood up pretty well in that game.
Listen, both of those guys are going to be battling for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And they're going to win some, they're going to lose some. This time, Mahomes won, but, Joe Burrow's going to be back.
No, Joe Burrow
Burrow's
beat
gonna be there.
three games that they've beaten, and they've beaten Mahomes essentially.
Is there any worry though with in having the professional here with the high sprain? You could see him at the end of the game.
He was hopping a little bit.
He was hopping again.
Yeah.
So this is the second game that he hasn't been here. I don't think he's got.
But he has
recovery
2
on.
weeks of rest now.
Yeah.
He has 2 weeks of rest, which is not exactly enough time for that. But then again, 2 weeks of rest, tape that thing up, get that thing shot up with some cortisone.
No, they didn't. He didn't
proved.
shoot it up with anything.
Yeah, you
He turned it down.
You don't know what they did. I don't. I'm not saying you. I'm saying us.
No, they said he turned it down.
Of course he did, because that's frowned upon these days, right?
Of course he said that. Yeah.
So
I'm sure
it's the thing is the thing that was most impressive about the Chiefs, which wasn't much in my opinion, and I'm being bitter.
I mean, not much in the sense that there wasn't a lot going on in offense.
No,
for that whole game.
I will give their offensive coordinator credit. He took that playbook and he molded it into something that was not asking Mahomes to do more than he could. He scrambled some, and he scrambled late. He scrambled when he had to. And when he had to, you saw what happened. The most disappointing thing from that game, from a scheming perspective, Cincinnati did not blitz him. They should have just pinned back their ears and go, you know what, early on been like, if we give up a touchdown or two, we got BDJ back here. We'll catch up. We are going to get after him and after him and after him. And I don't. And you can look. There's little blitzes you see watching a game that the casual fan may not notice. Oh, well, that safety did a delayed blitz, or they faked a zone blitz and then he came. I'm not talking about the scheme stuff. I'm talking about where you take 3 linebackers and a safety and you go, we got 2 more people than you. We're going to come down and we say we can get a hold of you before you can get it out of your hands. I mean, those moments where the linebacker is almost receiving the shotgun snap because he got in the backfield so fast. Cincinnati did not do that, and I blame the defensive coordinator for Cincinnati for that fact. I think, honestly, the reason they didn't, I think you got a risk reward here. The reason they did it is because Eli Apple is trash. I mean, you heard me say that. He is absolutely trash. And then Hilton on the other side is undersized. Okay, so you got these receivers that if you give the guy time, you got one-on-one, and he's going to pick them apart. I think they said this: where are we going to be most successful? And they chose improperly. I was hoping they were going to come out in the second half and change the strategy, and they didn't. And well, you know what? You end up in a close game, and in close games, as we have talked about before the show, you get into close games, that's where you start allowing the intangibles to come into play, meaning those guys that wear the stripes. And look, I'm telling you right now, I'm not a referee hater. They are human beings. You have good days and bad days at work. We've all had those, right? I've had decisions in the morning I made terrible, in the afternoon I made great decisions. It's part of life, okay? I'm not one to hammer referees unconsciously. There's some people, if my team's losing, it's because of the Zebras. No, your team just played like crap that day. That was one of the most poorly managed, run, officiated games that I have seen at a professional level in a very, very long time. And these guys are supposed to be chosen to pick these big games based off of their performance throughout the season. And I'm like, there is absolutely no way that they did that good to then walk into this game and do that poorly. Look, take the late hit off the equation. Okay, we can argue should have been called, should have not been called.
It should have been called.
I promise you I've seen worse not called this year.
You have seen worse not called.
Okay,
That was
I've seen worse not called in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Okay, so my point being here is, it's for the sake of the game, let these guys settle it. But that's neither here nor there.
But to come in, I mean, this one had no effect on the game overall. But to have a ref running down the field, stopping the clock, and then they do a whole play and then come back at it,
And then they get the down after that.
and then they let it go again.
Or-
to me, that was unprofessional on an NFL game for that to happen.
Or the intentional grounding for Burrow in their last drive that cost them a down.
In 3 plays earlier, he did the same exact thing.
He threw it at the tight end's feet. That's an eligible receiver. Then again, so as the referee stuff starts coming to the surface, people go back and start picking these games apart. And I mean, there was so for example, if that was an intentional grounding, they showed 2 by rule. Mahomes should have had 2 in the second quarter. He didn't throw it at anybody. It didn't get back to the line of scrimmage. He was in the pocket. Why was the flag not called? But it's at that point you're like, I'm not paying that much attention. I get it. I'm not throwing. But all I'm trying to say is this: when the game gets that close, you allow those moments to be relevant. Okay. Now, why were they relevant like that? Again, I think. My personal opinion is this. Do I think the Cincinnati Bengals are a better team than the Kansas City Chiefs? Yes, I absolutely do.
They beat them 3 times in a row. So.
I think they got out-schemed this game. I think they got out-coached. They were better prepared. I think Cincinnati, for the last ever how many games in a row, they went, we're going to throw what we got, and if we don't have quite enough, we got possibly, arguably, the best quarterback in the league standing back there. He'll bail us out. And, well, they got out-schemed.
Yeah, but... I mean, Monday morning quarterback or Tuesday evening quarterbacking it as much as I am.
Yep.
Joe Burrow, 3rd and 3, 25 or 45 seconds or however long it was left on the clock. He, instead of going for a quick pass, get the 3 yards, they go for a freaking 30, 40-yard throw.
But the thing is this: Joe Burrow is not at a point in his career he's calling plays. That came from the sideline.
No, that's not him. That comes from the sideline.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. That is the most insane play I've ever seen when you're trying to win a game in the next minute.
I agree. You get the 3, you get the first, in the worst.
Yeah,
but I'm saying
no, on that play he did not. There was no catch. It was incomplete. Then they had to punt it away, and that gave Kansas City the ball back.
And the guy got a good return on it.
Yeah.
So I mean,
and they got up to the 50-yard line.
Have like a 3rd or 4th and short and go for.
Yeah, and I think.
Yeah, earlier in the game he did. Yeah.
Lean in.
So it's happened before.
So here's what I think happens there is if you want to look at from a receiving core, it's not even close how much better the Bengals receivers are. And I think this is one of those moments where a coach on the fly outcoaches himself. Instead of going, wait a minute, we get a first down, we keep driving. In a worst case scenario, we run out the clock, get into overtime, and let's do this again. He's like, well, I need 3 yards, but I got T. Higgins out there. He's 6'4". He can out-jump all these receivers. Oh, wait a minute, he just did it 2 plays ago. Let's go back to the well. Again, in that situation there, you have to go with what your high percentage is, and your high percentage right there is you dink and dunk it, or you run Mixon off the edges and say run to the sideline and get 3 yards. I mean, that's what you got to do. So, I mean, again, I'm not going to go down the referee rabbit hole here. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole of people trying to, give me a bunch of crap about being gracious, ungracious, and all this load of bullshit. Sorry, that's what it was. Okay, because again, having played the game, having seen calls that have been made, seen calls that haven't been made, if you think these referees get into big situations, we've seen it in basketball all the time, you see it in football, to where a good referee crew, unless it is just utterly egregious, are not going to insert themselves in this game. Let these guys finish the game. And then others are going to not do that. If you think that doesn't happen, you are in a pipe dream and you don't watch these games very closely. But the point being is, Kansas City out-schemed Cincinnati so much so that it put them in that situation to allow that call to be relevant.
Yeah, and those calls definitely are relevant in the game. But you know what?
But you don't have, the Cincinnati Bengals coach at the end of the game, I thought did a really good job of saying, look, in the game you don't let games come down to one play. There are other opportunities throughout that entire game that they could have taken advantage of to where that play would not have cost them the game.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
that's true.
And he did a great job of communicating that, and he did a good job of, those kind of things happen.
So all I can say is this:
every athlete that's ever played any sport has had that happen to them, and they've been on both sides of that.
Yeah.
And so some you get, some you don't get. But at the end of the day, you realize that one play should not have dictated
But a lot of games do come down to that one play also. That happens, I mean, it happens in college football where it's
You
so
don't blame,
close
you
that
don't
one
blame
play.
the win or loss on that, though.
You don't blame the win or loss on that.
No, the plays you're talking about, plays you're talking about are the games where you're sitting there in the third quarter and you go, whoever has the ball last is going to win this game because it is just back and forth. It's just good
But
football.
that's what this game came down to as well. Whoever had the ball last, and who had the ball last? Kansas City.
It did, but it didn't.
I guess the Bengals had it for 2 seconds at the end, but you know.
No, but what I'm gonna say with this before we wrap this thing up is all I can say coming out of this game is now walking moving forward. Cincinnati has had a tradition of when they get a semi-good team, ownership don't want to spend the money to keep that team intact. And all I can say is moving forward, Burrow's coming into a contract year. He's going to get paid very, very well. They're not going to let him go. They've got to keep some of these pieces around him to where now I would love to see this Mahomes-Burrow rivalry go on 5-6. I want to see the Peyton Manning, Tom Brady type moment that we're having. But if they won't drop the money and if management don't take care of this team, they'll go back to being mediocre Browns again in a minute.
Bengals. But yeah,
No, they'll be the Browns again.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so
Sorry, Ripper.
boom, here we go. Ready?
Terrible.
Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts or Mahomes? Who's the better quarterback? That's a hard question to ask, but I'm going to ask it because we're going to go ahead and give it to my favorite female cheeks. Thoughts?
So my thoughts on that are, looking on paper, Mahomes is a little bit better than Hurts. That's all on paper. You also have to remember that Mahomes' team played some lackluster AFC teams this year. So
the entire AFC South?
Yeah, yes. And they lost to the Colts. I mean, they lost to some embarrassing teams, and they almost lost to the Raiders. They only won by 1 point. But
that's
some
an
of
any
these,
given Sunday type thing as
so
well.
any of these statistics, but these are professionals. They're not college kids.
That's
but
true.
But the problem here is that we're looking at statistics based on the competition you're playing against at the time. So if it's squeaking by, I would give it to Hurts.
Okay.
Out of the division for the Eagles, the strongest division in the NFL, not the NFC, the NFL, 3 of the teams in their division went to the playoffs.
And I argued with her earlier that the NFC is just that bad this year, but I can appreciate her.
And then I came back with things like, the Jaguars barely even won their division, 9-8.
Yeah. All right, Jalen Hurts, Mahomes. What are your thoughts, Harley?
I think Mahomes is a good freaking quarterback. I think he reads. I think he moves. He's got a lot for him. But Hurts just is at the top of his game. You know, I mean, he's sharp. He's on it. He just seems like he is focused this year, and that his team is willing to follow him.
He seems
he's a good leader. I think he's in the right spot at the right time.
Good leader. He's a good quarterback. Yeah. Patrick Mahomes is a great quarterback.
He is.
3 out of the last 4 Super Bowls. I mean, you can't.
Mahomes has Super Bowl
He's a
experience.
leader. Mahomes is a leader. He's the face of the Kansas City Chiefs
and the face of State Farm.
Jalen Hurts
Sponsor
has
of
the
the
potential
stadium.
to get there. He's not quite there. So I give the edge to Mahomes.
Yeah, Mahomes. One more thing, Mahomes is definitely on that level, the better of the 2 quarterbacks because of experience overall. Jalen Hurts has potential to get there, I think, but it's going to be
so
that
experience him from what regard?
Experience from the last several years getting into the Super Bowl and being able to play, and he's won a Super Bowl as well. So I mean, he's nearly, if he wins again, it's nearly starting a dynasty.
So what you're saying is, because I would disagree if you do it very, very professionally. Jalen Hurts played in 3 national championship games. You're telling me that Super Bowl is that much bigger than an NCAA in this country?
Mahomes came from Texas Tech.
My point.
I mean, different.
No, my point being is to say Hurts has never experienced big games, big crowds, lots of pressure. That would be an incorrect statement. Yes, has he done it in the NFL yet? No. But playing for Alabama on the biggest stage, it don't get any bigger.
No, and it's gonna. And he had in the NFL. I think that Jalen Hurts is well on his way to making a name for himself as maybe the best quarterback.
He is the one quarterback out of the playoff teams that had never been there before that is going to walk on that field, and the game is not going to be too big for him. You know, if Brock Purdy gets there, that dude's got it running down his leg before kickoff, right?
Oh yeah, he's pissing his pants.
Here's the thing: every question is always about 99% of our conversation is about the quarterbacks. Okay, if your backs aren't out there, okay, if your receivers are not out there, that's another story too. Yeah, and I think the Eagles are stronger. I think their backs are. I just think they play better as a team.
What's the X factor in this game going to be for the Super Bowl?
What he just said.
Andy Reid's coaching.
No.
Yes.
It could be. It definitely could be because he has a mind that can get him to the Super
Andy
Bowl.
Reid's coaching.
Well, he took the Eagles to the Super Bowl too.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
The line of scrimmage. And the
line of
Eagles have
scrimmage.
a better line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. If they control the line of scrimmage, they win the game.
Yeah.
If they let Kansas City run loose, get into the backfield the way the Bengals offensive line, for everything the Bengals did great 2 weeks ago offensive line wise, they did trash this week. I mean, four sacks in the first 8 minutes, right?
Yeah.
If the Eagles control the line of scrimmage the way they have done through this entire playoffs, the Philadelphia Eagles will hoist the trophy.
And I don't think the Eagles will be like the Bengals. I think they will rush. Okay.
Oh, they're going to blitz it.
They're going to go in there and they are going to make Mahomes run.
Yeah.
It's a whole different mindset on the defense on the Eagles than what we saw with the Bengals and the Chiefs.
And I don't know why the Bengals weren't going in there hardcore after Mahomes, just because you know that he's floundering at that point. If you hit him hard enough, if you get him to run the wrong way, he's gonna tweak that ankle a little bit, you know.
Well, rushing is one of their weaknesses. The Chiefs actually, on paper, have more weaknesses than the Eagles do. One of them is rushing, and at the end of the season, they were in the middle of the pack, which for a number one team is not okay.
Yeah.
You can't survive a Super Bowl being in the middle of the pack.
So, Shakes, who's gonna win this game?
I predict the Eagles 28-17.
Eagles.
Eagles. Do you have a score for me?
No.
Okay, but you think Eagles are gonna win? I'll go with you, my man. Shaba.
Eagles by 250. I'm kidding.
Wait, that's
That's what he said. I hope he scores how many
I'm
touchdowns?
kidding. I'm kidding. I'm
I said he
kidding.
scores 25 in the
kidding.
first half and another
I'm kidding.
25 in the second half.
No,
Which
this
is true.
Andy Reid is going to put a Jedi mind trick on the Eagles. Mahomes wins this game.
Oh, my
Chiefs.
My friend,
Chiefs are gonna win.
Jedi mind trick.
this is the Eagles, that's the Chiefs. It's all good.
That's right.
We won't know until the day of.
Rebel, what's your thoughts? Who's gonna win this game?
28-24 Birds.
28-24 Birds. Nice close game. Nice. And I think that the Eagles are going to win also. Just based upon their season, I think that they are not going to be stopped. And that's my opinion. I'm sticking to it.
4-1 here.
Did anybody have...
But you know what? You can hold your head higher if by chance you're right.
That's right. Predictions at the beginning of the season. Was anyone predicting the Eagles and the Chiefs?
She did.
I had
Eagles
the
and
Eagles
Bills.
and the Bills. Yes,
Eagles
I
and
had
the
the
Bills.
Bills.
I think a lot of us had the Bills as well. They looked like they were coming
No,
out.
I'll
the
actually
Cowboys,
correct you
Bills.
on that because I listened to that show.
Oh, so you're going to pull it all back, huh?
Ripper the Predictor might be changing his name next year. He picked the Chargers and the Saints, and he picked the Chargers to win.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's gross.
that was possibly a bad choice.
That's a bad choice.
Yeah, I told him at the beginning, I'm like, Saints? Really? You know who the quarterback is? And then who's your daddy picked the Bills and the Packers.
Okay.
Chopper picked the Cowboys, but never picked an opposing
The
team.
Bills.
You
Cowboys,
didn't.
Bills.
I listened to it over and over, and you never picked the
Week
second
one
team.
you did. You might have did the next.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody talked over
Yeah.
me or something. I don't know.
And then, do you remember who your pick was?
Did I say
Tampa Bay and
Did I say Tampa Bay and Green Bay or something?
Nope.
it can't be.
No,
No.
I couldn't have said that.
You Hanger picked the Buccaneers and the Patriots.
Yeah, baby, that's right. I always go with my heart.
And how's that worked out for you?
It was a really bad season for both teams. Tampa Bay did make it to the playoffs as a loser with a losing record, so hey, we'll take it.
That was
Patriots,
awesome.
Mac Jones just did not look the part this year. Last year he did really good. This year, not so much.
If you watch this year, he was very good till he got injured. After his injury, he just was not quite the same guy. We'll see, is he able to recover in the offseason?
Oh, I hope so, because he has the potential and the talent to do it.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
So we'll see. All right, anyone else was on that list? I can't remember.
No, that was all that was here.
All right, what the fuck?
What the fuck?
What the fuck? Do you have a what the fuck? Anyone have
I do.
Who wants to go first?
I got a fun one.
All right, go with it.
Too.
I got a fun one. So, if you go back and look at college football, there are programs that just crank out talent. So if I said, the lower Midwest, what is a premier program not named Texas in the lower Midwest?
Texas A&M.
Good choice.
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
Okay.
If you allow Oklahoma to claim Jalen Hurts, he is the first Oklahoma quarterback to play in the Super Bowl. Think
wow.
about that.
Wow.
That's a
yeah.
very historic college football program. He's the first one. What the fuck?
What the fuck? All right, Cheeks, what the fuck?
So late today, late this afternoon, it was announced that you guys will work out your beer order first.
You guys want to work on the beer order over?
Yeah, over there.
Yeah,
You picking it up?
Yeah, it's on the mic. Okay, so late this afternoon, it was announced that Derek Carr is going to play in the Pro Bowl
game
at Allegiant Stadium, his ex-home stadium, and he gets to be around all those naysayers in the administration of the Raiders. It's going to be the best goodbye ever.
Are they playing even a game?
They are. They're playing flag football, and then they're doing
I hope he comes out wearing Fresno State.
What the fuck?
What the fuck?
Do you have what the fuck?
Yeah, what the fuck? So, SEC basketball. I know we didn't talk any basketball.
Sorry.
However,
Yes.
this past weekend, the Big 12 SEC tournament went on.
Oh, it was
And
bad. It was bad for
and
the SEC.
Big 12 demolished the SEC.
8-4 or something like that.
I think it was 7-3.
Yeah, it was bad. Man.
What the fuck, SEC basketball? I mean, there were
Yeah.
some good teams that got beat.
I mean,
Alabama,
Gators lost
Auburn,
to Kansas. Alabama
Florida,
lost to, it was
Oklahoma,
bad. Oh, it was
Auburn
bad.
lost to West Virginia.
Yep.
I mean, SEC basketball.
What the fuck, SEC basketball?
No, we got to quote real quick there. Alabama didn't just lose. They got destroyed.
All right, what the fuck? Ready? Urban Meyer is clearly taking some of this new mushroom treatment that they're doing for PTSD after the season at Jacksonville. After he got fired from Jacksonville because he was asked to rank the best coaching jobs in college football. His list was Ohio State, Georgia, Florida, Florida State, and USC. Oh, and LSU was on there as well. And then he said Alabama does not rank in the top 5. And I'm saying that dude is taking some good drugs in retirement because Alabama comes with a fan base that is going to be diehard for you. And I mean, if you perform, you're not going to get fired.
There's
It's
another job
Texas.
that's pretty good, right? Too is the Clemson job.
No.
That's a great job.
Oh,
Now we got a comedian
It
on
is-
the table.
That is a great.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want that. That's a great job.
it's a top 20, but it's definitely not a
Look
top
at Alabama or Clemson, Texas or Clemson.
5. I'm going
That's
with
fooling. That's like
Texas or Clemson.
Yeah.
I'll go with Texas.
yeah.
Yeah.
No.
If you handed me any job in if I was the coach that was
I
going
go
to get
I
it,
go to Clemson.
but Alabama.
I look at it
top-
from longevity. The Dabo made them relevant. They were trash before that.
Yeah, but
Do you have a what the
they have
fuck?
low expectations.
I do not.
Not anymore.
I know, but
You don't have a what the fuck?
I got a what the fuck, but
Just say it. What the fuck? All right, let's do this. Last call. Because y'all are having conversations sidebar as well.
Shut up.
You can't be calling them out about beer orders if y'all are going to have sidebar
You're
conversations
number one.
too. I'm going to start
On
talking
both
to
my
Cheeks
hands.
about
But what are you gonna talk to Cheeks about?
How to make a mimosa.
how to make a mimosa. Yeah, exactly. All right, last call. What's your best Super Bowl memory? Go. Chopper, lean on in. Let us know your best Super Bowl memory. Unless you don't have one, then we'll move on over to
I'm not prepared.
think about it for a second. That's fine.
1987, 1988, a heavily underdog Washington Redskins team comes in to face John Elway.
The Elway. Okay, yeah, that's right.
Washington goes 3 and out on their first series. John Elway's first ball is like a 70-yard touchdown pass. Washington goes 3 and out. Denver goes down, kicks a field goal. They're up 10-0. John Elway's finally going to get over the hump. And Doug Williams in a one splash in the pan, Timmy Smith ran for 203 yards, and the Redskins won the game 44-10. Denver did not score again.
It was rough, yeah. John Elway, poor guy, man. What do you got for me?
That was funny.
So it's not about the game itself. It's about the effects of the game. That the Eagles, when they in recent history won the Super Bowl,
2018.
okay, I was watching the game, and a friend of mine was sitting next to me on the couch, and when they won the game, she jumped up, screaming, yelling, and all of a sudden she just got super quiet. She got this look in her eyes and said, "I need to call my dad. He might have had a heart attack." The Eagles won in his lifetime.
Oh, that's great.
So now they're going for number 2.
Number 2.
He'll get drunk this time.
Best Super Bowl memory.
I have 2, and I couldn't pick, so I'm going to do them very quickly.
All right.
And you'll appreciate this one there, Rebel. 1989, a guy that I went to high school with, graduated the year before me, caught the winning touchdown for the 49ers in Super Bowl 23. So that was pretty epic, and I got to hold the football a couple years after that. So that was pretty meaningful.
Give a name.
John Taylor. I went to high school with him. My brother's in Boy Scouts with him.
They beat my Bengals, that's okay.
But watching the Eagles finally get their first Super Bowl win in 2018 with some of my closest friends, and it still chokes me up whenever I talk about it. Christine, the blonde, Jim, Tom, Beckett. It was pretty awesome. It was the most moving football moment of my life.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Chopper.
Yeah, it has to be the halftime show with Eminem, Snoop Dogg, and Dr. Dre.
Awesome. That was awesome. Yeah, that was a good
How
one. Okay.
anticlimactic.
All right, 28-3. That was the score in the third quarter of the Super Bowl 51 with the Falcons beating New England. I about turned it off, but 25 unanswered points between the third and fourth end of the third quarter and in the fourth quarter tied the game. Tom Brady takes that thing to overtime and beats the Falcons, and that was
What was the final
That's
score?
pretty cool.
just
Beginning of the end for
insane.
Ryan.
28-20. Hold on. What's 28 plus 6? 34-28. There we
Can
go.
we tell you why I asked that? This pains me real quick. I know we got to go this year. What was the score at halftime?
28-20. Oh, sorry, 28-3.
28-3.
Yeah.
Appalachian is beating James Madison year 28-3 going into halftime, and we lost what? The exact same score.
Oh, that's not
It's rigged. It's all rigged.
As a New England Patriots fan, that was the most exciting.
I was at the
ever
Gamecock tailgate screaming at my phone.
All right, so that is all we got for all y'all fans that listen to the show all the way through. Go ahead and subscribe, share the show with a friend, and then keep on coming back every week for Guys in the Bar Talking. Do you want to help support the show? Well, we're doing it for beer. So go ahead and buy us a beer. You can do that through Venmo at Guys at the Bar Talking Sports, and we'll look forward to drinking that beer on you.